Hello and welcome back, everybody. So it's been a little bit of time since I last posted a video, and I do apologize for that. So I want to keep on talking about certain things that I have mentioned here and there. And this video here is going to be on how we normalize pain. Now, we all have certain pain that we carry, right? And I want you to just remember that when I talk about pain, I'm actually referring to wounds, but I'm going to keep it simple and just explain the physical sensation, which is the pain. So, we have lived with pain, different types of pain. It can be pain that we feel in our bodies. It can be emotional pain. It can be psychological pain as well. And because we have lived with this pain for so long, we have, in a sense, forgotten that we are in this pain. Because we have normalized it, we have basically become so accustomed to it that we believe that it is normal, right? Now, the only way that we can kind of get the reminder that we are experiencing pain is if one time that one event or something happens that we have relief from this pain. So for me, I had noticed that when I got some deep tissue massage and then the knots were released. And then when the knots were released, I noticed that I can move my arm freely now, right? Before that, I believed that the range of motion and the pain I had experienced all this time, it wasn't normal. It should not be there, right? And of course, like I said, there's different types of pain, and we see the same thing happen when we eat food that doesn't do us well. And so we get acid reflux, we get indigestion, we get all sorts of, we even, like, when we burp and when we have all these, the discomfort that we have, we get accustomed to this as well, and we believe that, well, when I eat, I just, I burp a lot and I have acid reflux and it's normal, right? And no, the answer is absolutely no. We should not have all this constant pain when we're eating. When we're not feeling well after we have eaten something, it is an indication that this food does not go well with us. And we should pay attention to that, right? We get so used to a routine and habits that, we kind of like fall in a rut. And this really, it starts indicating to us something that we're neglecting ourselves, right? And it's a sort of like self-punishment, especially when it comes to the food, that we keep on eating this food and we keep on feeling unwell after we've eaten this food. The same happens when we're constantly in toxic relationships, and we believe, oh well, relationships are this way, and it's just the way it is. It's people fight all the time in relationships. It's normal, right? But if we ever happen to get in a relationship where this no longer happens, then we get the reminder that it is not normal. So there is a sense of self-punishment here, right? And this connects with the previous video where I talked about self-sabotaging. And this has to do with self-worth, as I said before. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on that it makes us pursue these toxic relationships, these unhealthy foods, and all this other stuff, right? All this stuff that doesn't go well with us. And we need to start listening to our bodies, right? We need to start paying attention to how we're feeling. If we're not emotionally well when we're around someone, is a good indication that it is a toxic relationship, right? And until that we start feeling that we're worthy of something better, this will continue. We will continue being in toxic relationships. We will continue to eat food that doesn't nourish us. And there's another component of this where we're not listening, right? We're not really listening, right? All these things, all these emotions, and all this pain, it is indicating that there is something that is not aligned properly. And if we ever start paying attention to these things, we will soon notice that the self-sabotaging goes quite deep. Hopefully that we will start listening more and realizing that it is not normal to be angry. It is not normal to be anxious, frustrated, sad. But most of us that are these, let's say that I'm always an angry person, just underneath, I'm not saying that I always lash out, but it doesn't take anything really seriously to trigger me. And until that we start noticing that this is not beneficial to us, to constantly be anxious or to be constantly angry or sad, it is not helping us to live a really meaningful, fulfilling, and joyful life. And until that we do, we're going to keep on self-sabotaging, right? And we're going to keep on normalizing this pain. So we need to start listening, examining, and observing ourselves if we're going to get to really what's going on. If not, then we're going to keep on living with this pain on a daily basis. And I want to just put a little bit more emphasis on something here, where if we have some psychological pain, this is preventing us from being in the present moment and at peace, right? And for me, anyways, spirituality should be about finding joy and peace and harmony. And if we don't pursue these things, then what are we really doing at the end, right? Are we just going into spirituality and psychology and philosophy just because, like, well, it's fun to just listen to what people have to say and gather information and all of this stuff, right? But if we're not able to apply this to better our lives, it is in a sense useless information, right? We do not apply it, and it just becomes random facts that we have accumulated that really do not benefit us whatsoever, right? And this is quite sad to me, that people just seek information just for the sake of being able to say that they're informed, right? Well, they haven't really applied this to help them live a better life, right? And to me, that is it is missing the point in a sense, right? We should try to better ourselves with psychology, with philosophy and spirituality. We should try to better ourselves, right? And all this is connected to the fact that, to me, everything is a relationship, right? And most people, they understand a relationship like a romantic relationship or the relationship you have with your mom. But what about the relationship you have with yourself? What about the relationship you have with your emotions, with your psyche, with the food that you eat? Right? And if we're really honest with ourselves, and then we examine that the relationships that we have are, in a sense, toxic, right? And they're toxic because we often ignore, we don't listen. The same way that I said we don't listen to our bodies when the food that we eat doesn't do us well. So in that sense, you don't have a good relationship with food. Right? And we should try to get a better relationship, right? One that will not be toxic to us. And if we start paying attention and start listening to our bodies, our emotions, our psyche, right? If we pay attention to these things, because our body talks. The body's always constantly giving you feedback. But we brush it aside and we ignore it, right? And it goes back to self-worth. But if we're ever going to make some deep steps, some serious steps towards improving, we're going to have to start seeing everything as a relationship, and we need to start listening and paying attention, observing things. And by doing that, then you can start to make better choices, right? And you can start treating yourself better. Because you'll start noticing that, oh, this food that I'm constantly eating, it is a sense like I'm self-sabotaging myself, right? I'm not nourishing myself so my body can function properly, right? And the same with like the things that we consume, our minds or our feelings, right? If we're constantly consuming beliefs that we are no good, then this is not going to be helpful to us to really be at peace and be in a state of love and all the things that we should strive for if we're going to be very connected to who we are. So I'm hoping that you see the connections that I'm trying to make, from video to video, in a sense, like this is all a sort of continuation in a sense, right? And sometimes I'll kind of go back to certain subjects and try to connect the links in a sense, but I'm trying to go at it in a sense that where if you start from the original video and then you watch them all, you'll see the connections I'm trying to make here as far as where we're going wrong, right? And I'm not saying that this is totally our fault, because there's a lot of stuff that we have been taught that we trusted our parents and we trusted people of authority, and they told us that we should be living in a certain way, eating certain foods, doing a certain job. We trusted them, but a lot of these people were lost themselves, right? And the information that they were giving us was flawed. It was incorrect. But until that we start examining and listening, we won't start noticing that, right? And I'm hoping that people will get some sort of relief or some sort of shift that will make them see that the pain that we feel, we should not normalize it. We should not normalize living like this. The same way when I was living in constant anger, fear, anxiety, low self-esteem, it wasn't a life worth living. And I'm hopefully that people that are into spirituality and they want to find a life that's worth living, right? And I'm just going to finish off by saying this, that all these wounds, right, all this pain, it is preventing us from being in the present moment, right? And the healing is the thing that will release this so that we can step into some peace, and we can find joy, right? Because all these wounds are preoccupying our minds, and they're preventing us from being connected to this very moment, right? Because if we're reliving past trauma on a daily basis, we are not really in the present moment. We're just constantly reliving this trauma, right? All these wounds that are not healed, they're preventing us from really connecting deeply spiritually, right? And I'm hoping that you get something that will make you realize that, so you can start making some steps towards freeing yourself. So that wraps it up for now. I'm hoping that, like I said, I'm hoping that you start seeing the connections I'm trying to make here. And if there's anybody that is still unsure on certain things, please, just write a question, give me a comment, tell me you're confused, and I'll do my best to try to clear things up, because as I said in my very first video, I want to demystify spirituality. I want to be able to talk in videos here where people that would be 5 years old could understand what I'm saying, because I'm not here to put in some very complicated concepts and big words to try to confuse you. I just want to go about this as easily and as simply as I can. So so if you like this video, just hit the like button, and until next time.